Hi folks, we've got our first league match here, so we're going to go ahead and join. I've never played in the league, so I don't exactly know how this works, but I do have trusty energy drink with me, an Arizona iced tea. I've got this Dimir teachings deck and a dream, so as long as we're not lagging too much, things should be good. As you can see here, we've got this league thing going, all the information, and we are on the draw, and we can keep. Not an incredible hand, but got our colors and a preordain, and then we've got some card draw to follow up. Looks like we might be playing against Affinity, which is a matchup I enjoy. So I think I'm going to start with the Guild Gate to get things going. That way we have access to both colors, and we're not positive he's Affinity, but if he is, which it looks like he is, we can move from there. We are a little behind on tempo, but I think he's going to start off with, a fixer. So we're not that far behind on tempo. And this is pretty much confirmed Affinity now. We're experiencing a lot of lag, so I don't know if you can even hear this. I mean, just a ton of lag at the moment. I don't know what I can really do about it. Okay, so I'm going to shuffle this away and preordain. So right now, Crypt Incursion is a pretty bad draw. We want to find some big removal spells, and we need a fourth land for Mystical Teachings. So Deadweight's not terrible. That can slow down some of his big guys. We're going to bottom the Muldrifter and take the Deadweight. It can kill an Atog, and it can kill a Frogmite. So we have that going for us. Like I said, we are behind on tempo, being on the draw, and then our opening hand's not exactly ideal. And there is the Frogmite, so looks like he's going to go off on us. We're probably going to struggle this game, but I think overall this matchup is definitely favorable. Thoughtcast, another Frogmite, and he might have an Atog or a Forger coming our way. Yeah, it looks like... Ooh, another Thoughtcast. Yeah, he's really going off this turn. So, yeah, there's an Enforcer. Kind of a drag here. So, if we go with the Deadweight on the Frogmite, we're getting hit for 6. We leave up Dispel. And then we're looking at Mystical Teachings the turn after that. We could also evoke Muldrifter and try and find some more removal. Then we take 8. I mean, leaving up the mana doesn't really do anything for us. I think I actually want the 2 cards instead. We're so far behind on the board that we really need to find multiple removal spells to be able to do anything. And I'm actually going to have to discard, which is pretty bad for me. And I think I'm going to discard the Una's Grace. Yeah, we're in a terrible spot. I've never been in this bad of a spot out the gates against Affinity. Usually have a removal spell or 2 to kind of slow them down. But right now we're just getting walked all over. So I think next turn we're going to have to Deadweight something and leave up Counterspell. But doesn't look like he has many other creatures right now. So we get to counterspell his next creature. That's at least good. I am going to preordain because we have access to another blue source here. And I don't want any of these cards. I just want removal at this point. Another preordain. I think we're going to have to deadweight and leave up a counterspell. Oops, wrong creature. We're going to deadweight a creature we can kill. Yeah. This is looking bad. But I think we're in such good shape in this matchup overall, so Okay, he's got 4 cards in hand. And he's going to crack in. We're going to be at 6, which puts us in Galvanic Blast / Fling range. So that's definitely a problem. We have to preordain into an answer next turn, or we're basically dead on board. We have to counter any threat that he throws at us. So we're probably just getting burned out here. We have 6 life with the Crypt Incursion. So that's a thing, I guess. Uh-oh. Not responding. We're going to bottom both. Again, we need a removal spell. Just not around. So I could go to 1. I'm probably not going to 1. I think I'm just going to have to do the Crypt Incursion. His hand is really weird because he didn't play any other threats. He's kind of flooded. I think I'm just going to have to throw the Crypt Incursion now. Here. So I'll gain 6, go up to 13, then go down to 7 again. It's basically like a fog, actually. And he doesn't have a play, so we're actually in pretty darn good shape at the moment. Well, not exactly. Oh, now we're in great shape. That is the best possible draw of all time. So, I'm just going to play that. I kind of have to assume that he maybe has like 1 Galvanic Blast, but the rest is air. We're going to leave up Teachings and Counterspell. There's a chance I don't even cast this Teachings because I think one of the ways we lose is to double Galvanic Blast. So I actually think I want to chill here. And that is just another threat. I mean, we can deal with it with a Disfigure. I think I'm going to Counterspell it. One of the ways he wins is by going over the top of us. And we want to use our mana now and stabilize the board. So we do have a Dispel, which is very important that we have that. Because right now we're in a situation where we can likely deal with the board. So, okay, we just pass here. So it's one of the things that gets us, or the main thing that gets us from here, is actually a series of burn spells, which he's got at least 1, because otherwise he'd be throwing out these threats. Okay, here comes something green. It's looking like if he needs Springleaf Drum. So we'll just counter that as well. Again, we don't want him getting around us. I think I'm just going to leave up mana again. Because, like I said, one of the ways we lose here, I'm going to play this, which allows me to get a Counterspell and have up Dispel. One of the ways I don't even know what I was saying, but I am going to play that as opposed to using the Una's Grace. So in this matchup, you don't counter card draw like Thoughtcast Perilous Research. You only deal with creatures on the board. And as you can see, he's having a really hard time with this 5/5. We were so far behind that game, and now we're actually doing quite well. So now we get to start our typical Teachings chain, which is Counterspell, then getting Teachings. It's actually our last Counterspell. Then getting another Teachings, and then we'll do some stuff. And again, I am going to play this land also. But after that, I don't think I'm playing any more lands. Because this puts us in, well, that's 8 mana. This puts us in Flashback Teachings for something, like a removal spell. I can get my Victim of Night, but what I'm going to do is get another Teachings. You can tell he's super flooded. Fortunately for me, I have another Dispel. I don't think he has 3 instants. I mean, it's possible, but I think he would probably go for it at some point. So I'm just going to flash this back. This is his one window. This might be too risky, but I think the 1 Dispel covers us. Plus, he keeps passing priority, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on. We could start getting aggressive pretty soon, but I'll just kind of sit on these Teachings and let that rock. Yeah, I'm just going to leave this land in hand. Alright, I'm just going to pass. He needs 3 Galvanic Blasts. He keeps passing priority, so it leads me to believe that he's just extremely flooded, but I mean, I guess we need to start thinking about ways that we possibly lose. So now I'm going to get a Victim of Night. Maybe I'll get another Dispel, but probably a Victim of Night. I might just leave shields up this whole time. There's really no reason to go shields down and just get burned out. So I'm going to leave up as many counters as I can. I'll just get the Victim of Night now. Leave up 2 counters. Even though it's not mana efficient. And we're kind of lagging again. Oh, we're waiting for him. Yeah, see, he's deciding, should I pull the trigger on these removal spells, on these burn spells? That's what's happening right now. I feel like we have a firm lock on this game. Again, the only way we really lose from here is just leaving our shields down, so I'm not going to do that. I guess I'll end up having to play the Evolving Wilds then. Or next turn I could just Evolving Wilds with Una's Grace and Victim of Night that guy. Or I could play this untapped land, which gets me Teachings for Teachings with my counter spells up. I think I like that line a little better. And that last Teachings I might just leave in my hand. I'm not sure. I might cast it once and then leave the other one in the graveyard. I can start attacking him. Because I can get this, I can get a Teachings with this, that's fine. Again, pay attention how I almost immediately let him resolve things like this. Affinity is a deck that's just going to draw cards throughout the course of the game, but that's fine. We're going to draw more cards than them overall. And as long as we only focus on what matters, which is his creature threats and his ability to burn us out from 7 life here, really doesn't matter. Even his, if he plays a Carapace Forger, we let it resolve. So I can tutor up a Tragic Slip, and then I can Victim one of the big creatures and slip the other big creature. Okay. But the difference is if he plays in a Tog, we're more likely to want to counter that because there's this possible situation we can get in where we tap too low and he's able to fling us out. Now, that's not as likely when we have both Dispel and Counterspell sitting around, but so he's got the full assortment of Ichor Wellsprings here. Again, note that he's almost drawn as many cards. Well, he's drawn more cards than we have at this stage, but all right. And we'll just get another Teachings. He knows at least about the one Counterspell, right? Yeah, he knows about these cards. But he doesn't know that I also have a Dispel. So that's going to the Dome. I think I'm just going to counter it. I don't want to put myself in range of another Galv Blast. So we're getting teachings, and it's kind of looking like he wants to burn me out. And there's a Chainer's Edict. So I think it's time to just start attacking. I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I spend 4 mana. I still have up 5 mana. A little dangerous. I think we actually play the land now. It was probably just a mistake to not play it. So now I'm gonna start clocking him before he gets something going. Looks like he's looking to fling me or something. Alright, so now we just start clocking him. If he plays a threat, probably letting him have it, because I don't want to go shields down. The main way we lose is to burn here. Alright, so now I feel quite safe. We've got the Chainer's Edict. We pretty much have this game locked up, so as long as we don't do anything really silly, I think we'll be fine. So, pretty sure I want to get a counterspell right now, meaning like a dispel. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So why don't I fish out a dispel right now? And what I'm going to do is let that resolve, and I'm going to flashback Chainer's Edict with dispel and counterspell backup. This will let him draw a bunch of cards. So maybe I just counter it. He gets to draw like 4 cards off of this, and it's a threat on the table, so I guess I'll just counter it. I changed my mind. I could have gotten a Diabolic Edict, but and as it turns out, that's what I drew. So I think this game is locked up. We can't do anything against triple Galv Blast, but well, yeah, that's right, triple. Yep. So we kind of just capitalized on his drastic amount of flood, and things are looking quite good. Sure. And then after board, we get a bunch of tools. We get more point removal like Doomblade, Vendetta. We get Hydroblast, which is really important. And we get to lose some of these things like Disfigure that don't do a lot. So this should pretty much seal the deal. Especially he only has 2 cards. Yep, so he concedes. Alright, so we take game 1. We were at pretty huge deficit, but having effects that kill big creatures kind of indiscriminately is a big part of what makes this matchup quite favorable. So, Crypt Incursion is a decent card against Beatdown, but in this particular matchup, it's just more important to keep the board clear, and we almost get to a point where life totals don't matter. Evankar's Justice and Disfigure, these type of cards only affect small creatures like Frogmite, and most of his creatures are big. Dispel, we want to leave in 1 copy, but mostly we're using Hydroblast to fill that role. So we want to be able to kill bigger creatures. That's why we play Vendetta in this matchup. It's good against every creature except for a Tog because of the life loss. And then we bring in Doomblade. And even Serrated Arrows I think is pretty good because it can kill Frogmites. It can make bigger creatures trade with Muldrifter, or it can make Muldrifter outclass the Frogmites. And it can kill a Tog in two pings. And that's about it. Hydroblast is a very strong card. 1 mana, kill a Tog, counter Fling, counter Galvanic Blast, counter Pyroblast. And everything else we still leave in. We want the counter spells. We basically just want to kill stuff. So this is how we're going to leave it. You know, this is debatable. I mean, this would really bury him. But I don't know what I'd want to bring in for it. And especially on the draw, we need to draw more cards that impact the board. If we're on the play for game 3, then there's a chance, you know, we'll bring it in. All right, we can keep this. We've got 2 removal spells. The Tragic Slip, not the best, but we do have a Mole Drifter we can potentially pair it with. And the mana situation, a little slow out the gates, but he's going to be a little slow too. Looks like he kept 6. And what's he going to do with the Scry? He puts it on the top. Okay. So, starting with a Great Furnace and leading on a Relic of Progenitus. Okay. So this is an artifact that helps his cause a little bit in terms of setting up affinity, but you know, overall, this card I've found to be a minor annoyance. It's pretty much the #1 sideboard card that people bring in against me, but I just don't find it to be that threatening overall. Now, if he starts following up with Frogmites, then that might be a different story, but it's one less card on the board that actually harms me. So what we want to do is probably get a black source, and we're hoping to find an untapped land so that next turn I can go Edict and Tragic Slip a creature that matters. Untapped land we definitely want. I think we want Chainer's Edict as well. So we'll do it like so. Top. Hide the card if he has Duress. If he has Duress, we're in trouble anyway, but okay, it's going to work on the graveyard. It's going to attack me for 2. But if he has a slow start, what I could do is just simply Diabolic Edict, or actually untap Chainer's Edict and Tragic Slip. And if he doesn't pop the Relic immediately, I mean, it's not really going to matter. The Chainer's Edict is so far away from being cast that the Relic, having the Relic early is not, I feel like it's a minor annoyance. Like I said, it's pretty low impact. And if he just doesn't have any other creature, then we love our spot. I can actually just play Chainer's Edict and play my Evolving Wilds. Pardon me while I sip some of my energy drink here. Yep, he's got nothing else. He didn't even hit a land. So I think we just Edict him. And that sets up our future edicts. Keeps the pressure off of us. And things are looking quite good. Yeah, this is really ideal. I mean, a clear board against Affinity, a bunch of cards in hand, bunch of removal, the ability to sculpt our hand quite well. Now, I may want to end up taking off that... Uh-oh. Come on, guys. Don't do this to me. I mean, we're way ahead on time, but still. If he's missing lands and doesn't have threats, he really just needs to pop this. But most of my opponents just leave this on the table and fall behind. So what do you have? What's going on here? What are we looking at? Now we'll have an interesting decision depending on what we draw. Do we want a divination? Okay, he's gonna burn me. Interesting. So he must not have anything else to do. So now I think I want to leave up Diabolic Edict. And we have a Gurmag Angler that's probably not getting cast anytime soon. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave up Think Twice, Diabolic Edict, Tragic Slip. Also leaves up mana, so he has to figure out if he's playing around something. Looking like he's got a hand where 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. He's very close to flinging us. Also, by the way, 4 cards. I'm thinking he has a hand where he probably has maybe 2 other Gal Blasts in hand, so he's like, oh, I'll just do something. So we let that resolve. Actually, if he even plays another threat, it'll be fine. We can just do this combo here. So we don't really need to dig for a counterspell at the moment. If this is... And he may have a Dispel. If this is a Tog, then we're still in decent shape unless he has a Dispel. That's also fine. So if he plays something else that's small, like Frogmite, I will respond by Edicting, and then end of turn I'll try and Tragic Slip. Okay. So his last, I think at least one of his last 2 cards is probably Galv Blast. And I'm just hoping he doesn't have a Dispel here. If he does, he would definitely play it right now. I don't think there would be any reason that he'd say, oh, I'm going to conserve my Dispel and let one of my guys die. So I'm just going to assume that we're good. I can actually untap and play Gurmag Angler because he's going to be eating my graveyard anyway. So this is another reason that Graveyard Hate doesn't punish Gurmag Angler, is that you can fill your graveyard so explosively that it gets to a point that if they can never predict when the angler's coming out. So this is an opportune time to cast it. Looks like he might have a Tog, so that's a bit of a problem here. 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. Looks like we're actually going to lose to a Fling if he has it. So we chose to tap out, and it looks like we're paying the price. 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. Yep. And I think that's just what he's working on right now. Oh, never mind. So we're actually not in terrible shape here. I mean, a Fling off the top will be a problem. But I'm still just going to play Mold Drifter because we need somebody to chump block, and we need to find an answer. So we've got Deadweights, Vendettas, Doomblades, Hydro Blasts. Okay, so we at least represent something. He saw 2 Dispels from us last game, so he may be interested in just trying to play around it. Okay, is he targeting himself? I don't understand this. He's targeting himself. Why? Okay, so he shows us what he has before he attacks. Why is he doing that? He's wasting his own clock. I don't understand why he would not want to have cards in his graveyard. So we're just going to block the Atog, as long as he doesn't draw Fling off of this. And then with Mold Drifter. And then we're hoping to draw a Deadweight. Actually, we can just leave up Counterspell at that point. The problem with leaving up Counterspell, though, is we don't have a blocker for Atog. There's a chance he doesn't even attack. We could also double block, which means he has to sack like 4 artifacts. Okay, he didn't attack. That's even better. So now I can just leave up Counterspell. However, I think I'm going to cast Think Twice first and see what that does for us. See if we find something we can just kill this guy. And then I can get in. Yeah, perfect. So I'm going to... Should I stop him on his upkeep? Yeah, so I'm going to get in with Mold Drifter and kill his Atog on his upkeep. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to respond to his Relic of Progenitus. Actually, I should not have done that, because now he can Relic me. That's fine, I guess. That was a mistake. That was definitely a misplay. Now he's going to Relic my Think Twice. Not the end of the world, but it's still just not ideal. And fortunately, he didn't respond, so... Next turn we get Muldrifter with Counterspell backup. Pretty sweet. We're going to let him have this. So we get to actually cast Flashback Think Twice at no cost to ourselves. Yeah, this game is pretty much done now. It's not completely over, but we're ahead on board. We're ahead with cards in hand. If he actually exiled the Relic, I wouldn't cast Think Twice in response. I'd just leave up Counterspell. So again, we're fortunate he didn't do that. So now I get in with the Muldrifter and play another Muldrifter, and I have up Counterspell and Hydroblast. Pretty awesome. These games actually went slightly better than I would say most of them do, but it's very easy to just keep the board completely clear against Affinity just by the nature of the removal we play. Now we get to fly over. We're just looking really good. We want that blue because we need Counterspell and Hydroblast. We don't need it, but it's just nice to have. Now we've drawn Mystical Teachings, which is going to definitely seal the deal here. Oh, I can play Una's Grace. So I'm going to turn off auto yields. I'm really not sure why he's doing this. Oh, maybe because of Crypt Incursion. That makes sense. He's trying to mitigate a Crypt Incursion. That's actually pretty smart. And again, we don't counter card draw almost ever. If I have nothing but a Dispel, and I know that he can use this in conjunction with the Wellspring to draw 3, in those cases, yes, you can potentially play your Dispel if that's all you've got going on and try and keep him from getting too far ahead. But that's a very corner case. Usually you're just going to let all that stuff resolve. And as you can see, he drew a bunch of air. So, the card draw itself is not even a big deal. So we are going to cast Una's Grace. Might as well just see the extra card. We are so far ahead that I don't think it actually matters. And I think I can start getting in with both Muldrifters. Because if he wants to suicide in for 2 damage, I'm pretty fine with that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can also play Pristine Talisman, which is -2. It's like 7. So I can leave up Teachings and both counters. Yeah, so I'm going to do that. Alright, yeah, this game's looking awesome. I'm not going to fire off the Diabolic Edict just yet. What removal spells have I used? My Tragic Slip's gone, Edict is gone, and Chainer's Edict. One of my Chainer's Edicts is gone. Okay, good to know. And we are going to lose Una's Grace, but I think that's okay. Definitely putting him on a clock here. Yeah, we're super safe. I mean, there's basically... I can't think of any scenario where we lose if we just don't get too careless. And he's flooding out once again, so... Yep, you got my Una's Grace. Again, notice how this is not really affecting the game that much. I still have 4 very relevant cards that... In hand, I'm ahead on the board. And the fact that he's not popping this to try and draw into something relevant is also helping us. He's also pretty low on time at this point. So let's get another counter spell. And I guess I can fire off Diabolic Edict at this point, which pads our graveyard. I don't think he played the land first. If he did, it's kind of a mistake. I should have probably just cast Diabolic Edict to keep my Una's Grace together. So that also might have been a mistake there. Okay, so we're actually in a position where we can just start attacking him with everything. We also have a Vendetta, so this puts him pretty dead to just about everything. Drops him to 3, so he's dead to the 2 Muldrifters, and he concedes there. So we win our first match in this league. As you can see, match league number 246. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you for the next match. Alright guys, we found our second league match, so let's join this, and let's do this. Looks like we lost the die roll again. And this hand is very borderline, but I think I'm going to keep it. I can disfigure something on turn 1, then I'm kind of behind on tempo. I think I'm going to keep it just because the Think Twice thins some of it out. However, this could be bad. I mean, we have a lot of lands if it's a control mirror, and we have an early removal spell if it's an aggressive deck. And it looks like it's mono black. So you've probably seen me play against this deck a number of times. I feel like it's a favorable matchup. And he casts Sign in Blood, so I guess we're just going to leave up Think Twice here and Disfigure. He might be hitting us with Chittering Rats. We can kind of undo that with the Think Twice. So I think I'll do that. And then I am going to Disfigure. We drew another land. So I guess we'll just Disfigure and play Dismal Backwater. And we Disfigure main phase. I mean, sometimes they play weird things like Undying Evil. So it's more likely he has like an Unearth, but he actually just passes. So now I get to leave up Counterspell and Flashback, and then I get to play Muldrifter. So it looks like he's only got Gray Merchants. I'm going to go ahead and counter it just because it's a threat. Oh, wow. He's empty-handed. Well, here's the thing. We have enough lands to get up to Muldrifter with counter backup. I think I'm just going to use a Divination. 6/5. Yeah. Actually, I need to think about this because we have very few threats we can actually play in this game 1. And they have a lot of removal. He's clearly got a lot of removal in hand. So, I mean, I could hard cast this and get it killed. I think that's the worst play. I think I'm actually just going to wait 2 turns and cast it with backup. I'm not going to use it as a divination. Even though he is going to get to throw removal at it, I am just going to try and counter the removal spell. We got a lot of counter magic, and we're going to use part of it right here. Okay, at least we have an answer to an Angler now, so I do feel fine trying to counter a removal spell. We have to try and run him out of removal. Okay, we drew a lot of goodies here. And it might seem weird that I'm throwing counter magic at a creature, or that at creature removal, but I think he takes Counterspell. He took Mystical Teachings. Interesting. 3, 6, 7, 8. So I think I just victim this and leave up Teachings and Counterspell and all that other stuff. I could just like be quicker on the draw and use the Preordain, but I think I want the Teachings in case he has Bajuka Bog or something. And the reason I'm using Victim is because Chainer's Edict hits Gray Merchant and Gurmag Angler, and Victim of Night does not. So he's down to 2 cards. That's very good for us. So now we Teachings for Teachings. And then we get to Preordain next turn, leave up Mystical Teachings. Drew a Think Twice. Don't want these lands. We have another Preordain, which I guess I can just cast. And we don't want these lands either. I'll go ahead and play that. That's fine. Alright, yeah, we're in good shape, but we also need to find enough creature threats to win the game. So I'm actually going to let that resolve. I'm just going to Edict it. I could Diabolic Edict and not lose any life. That's okay. I'll just get another counterspell. And we have a third Teachings in the graveyard. Ooh, that's good. So I can Chainer's Edict, play Muldrifter, and leave up Counterspell. And there's a Gurmag Angler, which I can cast for one. Yeah, that's pretty great. Let's do that. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. So this is looking like a game we could probably win. And again, it might seem weird that I'm throwing all these counters at his removal spells, but that's how this game shifts. They have so many removal spells, we have so few creatures that in order to win the first game, this is how we have to do it. We have to shift the roles in this kind of strange way. There's a Chittering Rats, but that's going to be okay. I'll put this on top in case he duresses me. Then, do I have enough mana to Chainer's Edict? Oh, he's got one as well. Okay, that's fine. I can Teachings up something and kind of get that out of the way. So that's 6. So I think I leave up Teachings. I am going to attack with Muldrifter. And I think I'll pass. So we'll get it. We'll get there, but it's just going to take a minute. Flashing back Chainer's Edict. I think I'll counter it. He has one card in hand. I mean, a Corrupt is like the main way we lose. I can also just get a... Alright, I'm going to let him have that. I can also just get a Tragic Slip here. That'd be pretty great. I'm saving this for Corrupt now, if possible. So 4, 6, I have 10, so 7. I can get a Tragic Slip. So what I'm going to do is get a Teachings up Tragic Slip, flash back Chainer's Edict on my turn, and then Tragic Slip the Gurmag Angler. And I'll play the land, I guess. And we might be able to get there with this Gurmag Angler, I'm not sure. If he plays a creature, I'm likely going to let him have it. Okay, trying to run him out. Looks like he's probably got one more. Yep. So now I think I just passed, though I could. This costs 6. I have 4, 9, 11. So I could hypothetically just cast this twice. He's out of cards, so we can only hope we do some good things with this. Yeah, I'll play one more land. We're going to Mystical Teachings for a... I guess I could have cast Think twice there. Yep, nothing I can do about that. All my counterspells are gone, so it is possible we just lose to getting our guys killed. So I think I'm going to teachings for Una's Grace. Guess I'll go ahead and do that now. Crypt Incursion doesn't really do a lot. And I think I'll just pass here. We are getting flooded, and hopefully he continues to be flooded. Thin out a bit. Drew double dispel. Okay. He's going to flash back the Chainer's Edict, so we don't have a lot left in the tank. Guess I'll thin again. No more counter spells, so I'd really like another creature. And there he is. So I guess I'll leave up double dispel, even though it's not really necessary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, this might work. This might work. I think these are okay, we have one more. No. These are our last two creatures, so this has to work. Okay, so while that's on the stack, I Edict, and he only gains 2. We have him on a 2-turn clock, even though he is going to Edict us again. There's not a lot I can really draw here, so it might just be useless. But we are cycling a ton. Okay. Alright, this drops him to 6. Then he's on a 2-turn clock. Oh, now he's on a 1-turn clock. Yeah, I don't think he should have done that. That's fine. Wow, this is looking great. Okay, so I think we have this game. I'll just dispel that. Dispel's actually being useful right now. And, oh no! Well, that's a good draw. So, I'm not sure if I want to use the Disfigure. There might be some way that we combo and do something else, so I'm actually going to draw first and see what happens. Probably going to find something to kill him off. And we do. So let's just kill him off. Disfigure. Chainer's Edict. We won't show him the Evankar's Justice. Alright, we take game 1. That's great for us. Really great. So, we didn't see Corrupt, but I have to assume he's playing it. Alright, so we do a lot of adjusting with the sideboard here. We're going a completely different route. We're not attempting to kill with creatures because it's very difficult. I think we might actually cut this, but we cut a lot of one-of type stuff. Dispel only hits creature removal, so we don't care about that. And we board into Curse of the Bloody Tome. We board in... Where's my Fairy Trickery? Oh, there it is. We board in more counter spells because you want to counter their big haymaker threats like Corrupt and Death Denied and Font of Return. There's so many. Gurmag Angler. I need to make one more cut, I think, because I do like Serrated Arrows for the most part. It kind of depends if they're playing things like Liliana Spectre. It's a lot better. Maybe I cut the Victim of Night. I think it kills enough that we're fine with it. So we want to disrupt his graveyard. They usually bring in graveyard recursion. So these spells are quite good. Muldrifter is still very good as just a draw spell. We cut a Teachings because I don't want too many 4-drops in the deck. We cut this even though I don't love that cut. It's just they're not really like a burn deck where every single point of life tends to matter. Cut a Disfigure even though most of his guys are X2s. So I'm not really sure if I want to cut something else. I may just play 1 Deep Analysis on the draw. So that's a lot of draw. 4, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 15. So maybe I cut that on the draw. I mean, he's going to play a lot of Disruption. I don't love it, but I'm going to try it. I don't know if we can afford to spend 4 mana to cast Divination and then spend 3 life the second time when we're on the draw. So we definitely want a lot of early interaction and then allow the top of our deck and our card selection to take us the rest of the way through. So, and every time you look at your opening hand in game 2 and 3, you always want to imagine what might happen if he turn 1 duresses us. So if your hand completely folds to something like that, you're going to be more likely to mulligan. Pardon me, I am pouring myself a nice beverage, some energy drink mixed with a little bit of ice water, and that's going to take the sting off of the energy drink a little bit. So we're waiting on him. As you can see, our clock is definitely down. So that is something we want to keep in mind here. I did kind of go in the tank a lot more in that game 1 because it is tricky. Like I said, we were down to our last 2 creatures, very few cards in library. So we had to kind of think, okay, how am I in the best position to win this game? So I am going to keep this. I don't love it, but it's definitely keepable. If he doesn't have a threat until turn 3, we can counterspell it, and drawing the Disfigure is amazing. So now I feel great. And he did cycle Baron Moore, which means, ooh, okay. This is really tough, because if I get rid of 2 lands, I might screw myself. I think I'm getting rid of Guildgate and Tragic Slip. And hoping Compulsive Research will get us back. Okay, I'm not going to leave up Victim of Night. I'd rather leave up Counterspell. If he plays Chittering Rats, I want to counter that. If he plays any other 3-mana guy, I don't think I'm going to counter it. But I don't want to get set back here, especially when we're trying to hit lands. Alright, cool. So we are going to tap out this turn. We don't have any permission to leave up. And this is also interesting. I guess I'm going to have to pitch that land. Hopefully not get hit with another Wrench Mine, but we'll see. Choking Sands. Wow. He's on the Mana Denial plan. So I'm just going to Divination. These don't really matter. Last game they mattered. This game they don't matter, meaning we don't want to leave him on the board. Okay, now he's... We have 2 preordained, so I think I'm going to try and fire those off. And we want both of these. I think I'm actually, let's see, 7, 6, 5. So yeah, I'm actually going to Divination again, because we know one of the cards on the top, we know we want to keep it. So the preordained doesn't have as much value. Alright, we're in real good shape now. Looks like he might hit us with a Grey Merchant, though. That could be a problem. So I think I need to actually Teachings and try and get something to kill that. If he has another Grey Merchant, we're probably in trouble, but yeah, I think we just leave up Teachings here. Could also try and preordain into an answer, but yeah, this could get ugly. Sometimes your answers just don't line up very well with what they have. Now, what might be awesome for us is if he goes for a Shinobi here, but Shinobi's not that common. Okay, he's got a Nihil Spellbomb of his own, even though I am about to get a Mystical Teachings. So the fact that he had no follow-up, why would he do it now? Oh, I don't know, but this is actually not going to pay off for him. Okay, I'm going to search. I'm going to get another blue source. So I would normally get a counter spell, but I am going to get a Diabolic Edict here. And I drew a second. So let's preordain. Preordain. Serrated arrows. Don't think I want it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do I want the land? I think a land is actually okay for us. So I'm going to play Nihil Spellbomb. I'm going to play Diabolic. I guess I can do it on his turn. And I'm just going to pass. Sure. Looks like he might duress me. Oh, okay. Well, this is going to work out okay also. So I'll go ahead and edict now. And then no matter what else he plays, I'm going to be able to kill that and edict his Gurmag Angler. Don't need to crack this. Get another blue source. We seem to be kind of lacking there. And I'm going to be able to either leave up Teachings. What do I want to do? No, I can't leave up Teachings. I can play Edict and Mole Drifter. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's going to kill it immediately, so there is that. Well, maybe not immediately. Here you go. And we should be able to kill this unless it's a Gray Merchant. And now we're just sitting on a ton of counters. So I'm feeling pretty great. Now we, of course, need... yeah, we're going to let him have that. But the problem is we might be shuffling something away. So I guess I'll just Teachings up another counter spell. And just hope he doesn't have Bajuka Bog. We'll see. I'll use my Disfigure. 3, 6, 7. Yeah, we'll just use it. It's fine. Okay, now we're going to Teachings for Teachings. Actually, I think these are our only two. So I'll just get another counter spell. And then after that, I'll get a Anuna's Grace. We don't need the Crypt Incursion. We have Nihil Spellbomb going on. So he's kind of locked out. I mean, the next basically 6 relevant things he does are going to get answered. Yep, that's fine. We're actually not going to beat him with Mole Drifter, so things have changed. I'm going to go ahead and, I guess, Teachings now and sack that. 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to get my Una's Grace. And I'm going to sack this. And I'm going to just put this on top. I'm going to cast Dead Weight. I'm going to cast Una's Grace and Dead Weight. And then I have a double counter spell. Ooh, okay. Well, might as... Oh, I can't counter that. So I'm going to have to respond in some weird way to his Font of Return, but that's actually okay. I could do it now, but I don't think we want to. I think we want to make him use it. And it's okay if we don't draw a card off of this. We have 6 cards to his 0, so that's not really relevant. I'll just counter this. Okay. Got to dig for our win condition. And Preordain will definitely help. Don't think I need that. Don't need the land either. Pretty much just digging for the win condition. Here it is. So I think I tap like this. And I'm fine. Let's see. 5, 8. I think I'm fine leaving up. But we have the Think Twice too, so I'll go ahead and play it. I'm not sure that we need it. I used up all my mystical teachings, so I think we're just pretty far ahead here. There's a Gurmag Angler, so I'll go ahead and counter it. She pretty much knows about. I'll cast Think Twice. And the land, I'll go ahead and leave. I'll just leave up my counter magic and go ahead and cast Una's Grace on his end step. Choking Sands I'm going to let resolve, but I am going to use the mana. So, do I want to do this again? Yeah, I think that's fine. Actually, look at the number of cards in my library. I'm not going to mill. He's on a 15-turn clock with Curse or less. Not great at math. And we have 16 cards in library, so I think we're fine. Could Preordain, but I'll just leave up double counterspell. We're pretty much in the driver's seat here. It's pretty absurd how many cards we've seen so far. I'm so used to playing this deck that it's kind of second nature, so I didn't even realize. All right, so we can sack this and definitely draw a card off of it. Okay. So that fizzles. And he's hellbent. He just passes. So do I want to draw my card? Yeah, I think we can. But I think after this, we're just going to let it go. I don't think there's any reason to do any more. Well, I'll preordain. Hopefully draw another curse. We don't need either of these. We don't need any card draw anymore. Basically just need another curse. I'm going to go ahead and pitch the Think Twice. I don't think I'm going to draw any more cards. Because at this rate, we're kind of drawing more cards than he is. And I don't want to have that be a problem. Duress. I'll just counter it. No need to give him the information. We're also lower on time. Alright, this is going to seal the deal. Basically nothing he can do from here. And we can start drawing cards, but we don't need to. Yeah, he's on like a 4-turn clock. Oops. Depending on what I draw, I can Una's Grace him. Actually, he's just dead. No, he has 6 in library. He has 4 in hand. Well, so I don't actually need to do anything. I guess I'll just Crypt Incursion so that I don't discard. Go up to 22. And yeah, he's dead. Doesn't matter. Dies on his draw step. And that is the mono black control matchup, guys. We're 2-0 in this league. Very awesome. Thank you very much for watching.